Hi, I'm Graham from Second Era of Moles, and if you've clicked on this video accidentally, 90 seconds is all I ever ask. We're back with another week that was, after last week where I had a week off for my holiday. There's been a few more things going on as always, so we've got the Champion Stadium back in the Kanto region, we've got the Hau-ling Shield of Eternity, which I'm disappointed Hau doesn't get looking for, because it's like, Hau-ling Shield? Anyway. We've got the type daily team-ups to contend with. We've had an avalanche of new events come along, so Bonanza, Xerneas, Kyurem, Palkia have all come back. And we're on the very cusp of the 2-year anniversary. So let's celebrate that anniversary by getting into that Champion Stadium. For this week's run through, I'm going to try and include a tiny little bit more talk about the points. I'm never sure what to call them, like parameters, so I think I'm going with point options this week. We'll see if that lasts. So for round 1, your condition is don't let any of your sync pairs faint. I chose to go up against Lance for this one, and he was weak to steel types, so it was like Jasmine as my main tank, and then build a team from there. Because Jasmine has endurance, I have her at 6x, she can regenerate health and move bar. I've waxed lyrical before about how good of a unit she is. The other two I took in were Hop. I thought, new kid on the block, let's give him a chance, see what I can do. Get him in the ring, Joe, I'll show him the ropes. Bugsy Malone. I have Gloria as my striker in there, but you've got options as well. You could go with Steven if you've got Rayhan, Sol Galio would all work equally well in this team. So I always set up with Strength 6, Strength 3 and Move Gauge -2. That's 1200 points right there, and it means you only have to find another 300 more after that. All of my damage was coming from a physical striker in this round, so you'll see I've got special damage reduction, no status conditions in there because I'm not doing any paralysing or sleeping. I wasn't planning on reducing stats, so that's why that's in there. I should have realised that because the condition is don't let sync pairs faint, I should have had that on because I missed out on getting the bonus from making the opponents faint, but well. So you start off raising defense with Jasmine, hopping to it with Hop. Gloria's Behemoth blading all the way through. The only exception is before she uses her sync move. I like to put Laser Sharp Focus in there because not only does it give you a countdown reduction, it also gives you a guaranteed crit, which is going to make that sync move hit even harder. And when you've got her at 6x like I have, it's like boom, boom, boom. So it's all good. But she has to wait for her sync move because Jasmine is 6x, she gets to go first. I wasn't able to take the enemy team out before they got their sync move in, so when that came I was quite surprised it didn't hit too hard. I mean, obviously Jasmine is quite tanky and Gloria is at a high level, but I have Hop quite under-leveled at the moment. I haven't raised him all the way up and it still didn't do too much damage to him, so it was one of those where I was like, okay, here we go. I would have liked to have had a few more refreshes for Clang. Obviously, Behemoth Blade takes 4 bars every time and you want to keep that topped up. But that's just me being greedy and picky because I managed to win the battle and all 3 pairs survived it. So can't complain too much. Moving on to round 2, where your condition is field effects are permanent. I chose to take on Lorelei for this one because she was weak to electric types this week. So that means you put Volkner in there for electric field, which is going to become permanent. The little hints said the special damage was going to be more effective, so that helped me choose Hau over Zepstrika, for example, and then you put Signasu, Elisa and Rotom in there for breathtaking and special attack boost, and 6x if you have them. I've recently raised Hau up from 4-star to 5-star, so it was a good opportunity to put him into the fray as well in his more souped up form. On my first run at this one, I made 2 mistakes. I forgot to sync with Elisa first for that 6x bonus, And I forgot to put the point option of healing down 50% on. There are no out and out healers on this team, so it comes from passives like Ridicule or First Aid for Raichu. Even then I might have done it, but I was like, you know what, I want to make it nice and clean, so I restarted and came back at it. And so when it comes to the actual battle itself, Volkner starts off by setting Electric Terrain. Hau is feeling the Alolan Breeze, Elasa's raising special attack. You can also do some Thunderfangs from Volkner as well to get some flinching in there. Maybe a Discharge from Hau just to bring that sync move ever closer. And then, as I said, Elasa gets that first 6x sync to raise the stats and get that boost. And then after that, you're maybe making some sparks with Volkner, definitely discharging all the way with Hau. You get your Breathtaking from Elasa, so that's guaranteeing you're getting your second sync move in there before the enemy gets their first one. So it's not necessarily going to take out Lapras, so Lapras is going to have a sync move, but because of that 6x boost, everyone's defenses should be high enough that you can survive it, and then it's just discharge, discharge, discharge until the enemy team is wiped out. If you're unlucky and Lapras goes down first and you get hit with a move that hits everyone and it takes out Hau, there should be enough in the team with Volkner and his Thunderfangs and Elasa and her evasiveness to be able to carry you through and win the second round. When you get to round 3, the condition is additional effective moves are more likely. I was taking on Bruno with this one with a team of Groudon, Eevee and Xerneas. I was thinking Groudon's not necessarily set up as a sync mover, sync nuker with the setup that I have, so good chance to use the likes of Xerneas and Eevee, whose sync moves aren't about doing damage, but are about raising stats and doing other things. So I chose this round for Groudon because I thought you're looking for refreshes on Precipice Blades, refreshes on the World is Vast, refreshes on Potion, so it benefits the entire team in that way. For this one, there's no obvious points to talk about other than make sure that you have special attack reduction in there, because Groudon's a physical type striker. I started off using Archie's trainer moves to boost those stats with Groudon. Your Dazzling Gleam and Flinch from your two sides. I was saving the World is Vast until after I started using Precipice Blades with Groudon, because 4-bar move, you want that bar to be refreshing as quickly as possible. I've only recently bumped Eevee up to 6x, so it was a good opportunity to use her and show her off. Xerneas gets the first sync and then Eevee gets the second one, should get the rest of them unless Xerneas is really low on health, and then maybe you can do that to give him a bit of regeneration. The two sides shouldn't be doing too much to you at all, because obviously Precipice Blade hits everyone. That's going to take those two out before the middle, and once it does that, it's just keep chipping away at Bruno until he gets knocked out. On to round 4, and the last round of the Elite Four. I was left with Agatha and special attack reduction for this one. I went with a ghost type team of Morty, Misty and Phoebe. So the reason I went for this one is Morty, his sync move is physical. He has a special attack as well, so he's a mixture of both. But it's not going to detract from him as much as it is for Agatha, who's definitely a special striker in there. And then Phoebe's in there for her Vigilance, raising crit hit and Unbreakable Bonds. Misty's in there for special defense boost, which is going to help you out even more. And then Catch Us If You Can, which is going to give healing and evasiveness. Morty has that tile, which is Blind Spot, higher evasiveness, more damage on the sync move. So Morty gets all of the sync moves in this one, as neither of your supports can be 6x at this point. I tend to start off by using Shadow Ball as much as possible, because you're going to be getting move gauge refreshes from Unbreakable Bonds, and then you can save your Phantom Presences for later in the battle. I was a bit unfortunate on this one. I didn't get any refreshes for catch us if you can. Usually I would try and use one on each of the 3, but I only get to put one on Phoebe and then one onto Morty. Phoebe had some kind of status condition set onto her. I think it might have been burn from one of the 2 sides. Maybe that mismages. So that made it a bit like, I don't want to attack with her, and she's run out of trainer moves. So that's something to watch out for. My strategy was to take out the left, and then the middle, and then the right, so I'd taken out 2 of them. Unfortunately, I had Misty and Morty left on low health, and then the right came in with a big move that took both of them out. I was like, and I looked up and I was like, right, okay, what am I going to do differently next time? And then I looked back and I was like, oh, victory screen. Last word. That kicked in and wipes the enemy out. So it's always good and surprising when that happens. It's like, go me. And so that brings us to the championship round against Blue. The permanent condition for this one was a physical attack boost. I chose the optional condition of permanent field effects because Blue was weak to fire types this week, and that made me think, burn it all down, Sun team. And that burn it all Sun team was Blaine and Rapidash, Red and Charizard, and Skylar and Swanna, just because she's brilliant. The physical attack boost didn't really do anything for me, as the damage was supposed to be coming from Charizard, and he's mostly a special type striker, but sometimes it just doesn't work out that way. So Blaine sets up Sunny Day, and that lasts forever. Maybe sets trap on 1 or 2 of them. Skylar's taking flight. Red starts off by raising his crit hit rate. Usually I would sync with Skylar first, but I wanted to get Charizard as Mega Charizard so that when I used my Destiny, it raised physical attack as well, and that made Haymaker play a bit of a part. I didn't get to use Skylar's 6x boost because in the end I was looking at it and it's like, they're all a bit low on health on the enemy team. Why don't I just use Charizard's sync move again and wipe them all out? So that's what I did, and won the day and finished the Champion Stadium for this week. So there's another 7,500 point run. You now get battle points for clearing certain levels in terms of your points. It's not a huge amount, but every little helps, and look at Blaine smiling there. I can never tell if it's just his moustache or if he's got a big cheeky grin. So the newest legendary event to be released is the Hau-ling Shield of Eternity. That gives you Hop and Zamazamastana as a free sync pair. It's good to finally get a free Galarian pair because they've been sort of hidden behind behind Pokefairs and things like that, and it's been difficult to get your hands on them. And if you aren't pulling regularly when it comes to challenges, use 3 Galarian pairs. It's like, I don't have any. Well, I have some because I've been lucky to pull for them. But I know there are lots of people who haven't been able to get their hands on them. So good to get a free pair for that finally. I was able to use it as one of the 3 Galarian pairs for the battle challenge there. When it came to having no more than 1 feint, I had to swap Hop out because I hadn't leveled him up enough, but I didn't think those were particularly challenging in the end. I really don't like Hop's voice acting though, because it's like not an English accent, it's like an Australian person trying to do an English accent. Or if you've ever seen Walk Hard, there's a bit where he meets the Beatles and it's like Jack Black, Paul Rudd, and they're playing the Beatles and they're doing dodgy Liverpudlian accents. And find the trippy cartoon Beatles and then listen to Hop's voice acting and you'll see what I mean. Do you remember those dark clubs in Hamburg, Paul? Of course I do. I booked them. I'm the leader of the Beatles. It was that sort of thing. Not good. I'm now at the point though where I've been through the pool, so it's only really doing the daily battle, but I'm going to keep doing the daily battle because the music goes along with it. It's really banging. I like it. since I recorded last, there's been the type team up events going on, so you take on a grouping of trainers who have the same type. I really like that. It's a cool little thing, and it makes you sometimes use pairs you don't use very often. So, like putting together an all-fighting type team, for example. I originally thought it was going to replace the regional rotation, and that's where you would get your battle points from, but no, it's only for tomes and codexes and gems, which are still all very useful. It's just not what I was expecting. And so for the anniversary, we've had an absolute avalanche of new events. Like I said, you've got a Blissful Bonanza where you take on the Blissies. You've got 3 legendary Pokemon come back. So you've got Kyurem come back in a rerunning of that event, Xerneas come back in a rerunning of that event, and Palkia returning in a rerunning of that event. So if you didn't get them the first time round, it's a chance to add 3 really good units to your team. And if you got them previously, it's a chance to stock up on rewards. So it's a win-win either way. In terms of ranking them, I would say Xerneas is the best, then Kyurem, and then Palkia. Just how it goes. And their events last into September, so you've got plenty of time to make your way through them. And each one of them only has 10 pools to go through. And then if you look at the 10th pool, there's nothing really in there that makes it worth coming back to over and over again. So it's accessible. They all have a full force battle to go along with them. I haven't quite managed to get through all of them yet, but I'll include a quick word on them in next week's video. When I did the Blissful Bonanza, I feel like I got a reward that looked like almost a bookshelf. I've not been able to find it in my bag, and I'm not sure what it does. So, maybe that's to be revealed. There's also a rally going on in the training area. If you're smart like me and you knew that this one was coming, you held back on doing anything in the training area for the latest bingo card because you were like, I can wait and I can do it during the rally and I can get more rewards from it than I usually would. So that's smart man thinking, that is. And that's another week that was. This week that will be is going to be busy because on top of your 200 stamina for your daily login, you get a bonus 400 stamina. So you've got lots to be cracking on with and lots of stamina to be able to do it with, thankfully. So you're well past the 90-second mark at this point. Thank you for making it this far and enjoying the video. Hopefully you can subscribe to the channel or follow me on Twitter for updates on when the next part of Pokemon Masters is gonna come out. Hopefully you'll join me next week for the week that will be, and we'll hopefully have lots of brilliant anniversary events to talk about. But thank you very much for watching this one, and goodbye.